competent young lady. So really proud to bring her up here and introduce her to you all. This is Natalie Pearl Jordan. Give it up for her.
So I know that I may be familiar to some of the staff here, but I feel it's only appropriate that I formally introduce myself to you guys. So my name is Natalie Jordan, as Ted said. I'm a senior at the Atlanta International School, and I'm currently keeping my fingers crossed for an early decision response from the George Washington University. Over the summer, I was an intern in the Education Department at the Center for Civil and Human Rights, with people like Ted Ward and Kelly Edwards serving as my admirable mentors. I learned countless lessons during this internship, and because I was invited here to discuss student presence in human rights today, I feel it is only fitting I share some of these lessons with you. The first lesson that Ted so intricately wove into the internship was the importance of networking. Now, I know you've all heard it a million times, it's all about who you know. But when working in any professional career path, it cannot be emphasized enough. Shortly after my time working here, this lesson was explicitly put into action when I left one internship for another and became a trainee captain for the Stacey Abrams for Governor campaign. Now, let me start out by saying that the Center for Civil and Human Rights is not a political center. Thankfully, no matter what political party you support, the takeaways I had and my inside scoop to politics can apply to anyone. Despite the results of the race, the people that I met and that I continue to keep in contact with showed me firsthand the value of networking. Thanks to my work on this campaign, I now have connections on the Hill and significant political offices in Washington. And for someone hoping to take up a career in politics, I hope these networks will prove incredibly useful. But the big question, how does this relate back to human rights? To me, the political campaign and many others would not be effective in any way without dialogue about human rights. After all, human rights apply to every person, regardless of political party. So, Stacey Abrams put human rights at the center of her campaign with the intention of uniting Georgians regardless of political ideology. And her overall message that this state is one we should be proud to call home is something we can all agree on. This has had a profound impact on me because I was taught that when humanity may be questioned, at the end of the day, 30 articles can tie us all together. Furthermore, in working on this campaign, I learned just how unique my voice as a student was. When delivering speeches at my school, people would tell me that I was doing the right thing, that I was using my voice for good and amplifying the voices of like-minded individuals that would make up the next generation. During the campaign, I would also hear this feedback, but different from any other engagement, people saw me as their mentor. It took some getting used to, and as an 18-year-old teaching the adults how to properly canvass and knock on doors, but eventually I got the hang of it. What I want you all to take away from this is that everybody here is a student, or most of you guys are students, and I want you guys to use that to your advantage. You have a unique voice to make a unique local impact, and whether it be in a political campaign or in any other activation that promotes human rights, networking in any capacity will facilitate this process and prepare you for the future that awaits. Now, looking through a bit of a wider lens, another lesson I learned in the summer internship at the center was the following: to use local action as a vessel for global impact. The center's core mission is to make global issues concerning civil and human rights personal to any spectator. And as students, we have the ability to do the same in our own kind of way. From this lesson, AIS Hello was born, named after the first word that refugees learn upon arrival to the United States. This is a student-run group that I started at my school. And like many of you, at first, I was just looking to fill in service hours. I quickly came to realize, however, that this group would be anything except an afterthought on a resume. The aim of my student-run group is to raise financial and non-financial funds for refugees in Atlanta and across the world. Why do we do this? Because I realize that refugees have, in recent years, fallen victim to some of the worst human rights violations and have been denied access to rights to safety, nationality, and life. With this in mind, AIS Hello takes the same approach as the National Center for Civil and Human Rights, to think globally and act locally. So far in our local efforts, AIS Hello has collected much-needed winter clothing for refugees working with New American Pathways, an Atlanta-based refugee integration organization. On the more creative side of things, this past year, AIS Hello raised significant financial funds for the International Rescue Committee through a popcorn sale. In addition to these triumphant efforts, just like the Stacey Abrams campaign, this group has allowed me to feel empowered as a student. Standing in front of a group of students in an AIS Hello meeting, I feel powerful. When organizing my own group to follow my own agenda and wacky ideas, I feel resourceful and proud of the impact I am making, not only in the lives of refugees, but in the members of my team. Now, if you will take anything away from this presentation, it is this. I know that we are all teenagers, and chances are we are not 100% set on where we want our lives to go, myself included. But if I to give everyone in this room a piece of advice, it would be the following. No matter what you end up doing, make sure that service is at the center of it. Interpret as you will. In my case, I found a candidate, a center, and a community whose values aligned with mine, and I was passionate about them. Want to be an astronaut? Great. Fly through space with a mission in mind. Maybe spread awareness for a cause or two while you're at it. Want to become a teacher? One of the most noble jobs that there is. Encourage your students to learn about human rights violations around the world and incentivize them to take action in alleviating them. A politician? Give support to nonprofits on your campaign trail. Even though my work at the Center for Civil and Human Rights, the Stacey Abrams campaign, and my student-run refugee group may seem scattered, the common theme that links them together is service. In the center, the service to reach out to young people and teach them about human rights. With Stacey Abrams, the service of using my unique voice to enact global change. And with AIS Hello, the service of engaging my community to help another. One that, although miles and miles away, can feasibly feel the impact we are making. What I'm trying to say is that, no matter what you do, service can be integrated into it. Do so enthusiastically, passionately, because as we have seen time and time again, from members of our generation and generations past, this is possible.
Yeah,
So I think we have 4 more minutes left out. Please, y'all, ask questions. I'd love to answer them, just about anything. Don't be shy. Ted, do you have a question?
yeah. What led you into activism as opposed to advocacy?
All right. Good question, Ted. All right, well, I'm like a really big person in just recognizing my feelings and kind of interpreting what my feelings mean. And I was standing in the MARTA station the day of the Women's March, and I had my poster in my hand. And it got me emotional, and I'm like, this is what I want to do. I want to get involved in activism because I felt so powerful in that moment. And I know that probably a lot of you guys felt the same, just, on your way to a march or on your way to any sort of on a political activation or anything like that. It was just, I can't really put it into words, but it got me really excited. Just, unlike anything had gotten me excited before. So I knew that this was definitely something I wanted to do.
Awesome.
Nice. My lunch table. Anybody have questions?
What was it like starting at How was it?
It was really awesome. So the way that my school works is we have kind of like an activities fair. And I realized, a couple years ago, I was walking through and there wasn't any sort of, student-run group that had to do with refugees. And so I kind of took it upon myself. I'm like, okay, well, this is a group, a community I feel is seldom represented. I feel it's kind of seldom put into the spotlight, especially with younger people. So I just wanted to, make it happen. And I got some of my friends helped me out, and I got some teachers to help me out. And we eventually just got it going, and it's been really successful. Just seeing something that you kind of think of in your head. I was like going out to dinner one night, and I'm like, what if I started a student group? It would be really cool. And then to see it happen, like right before your eyes, it's something really impactful for me. Kelly, do you have questions? You finish your bag.
It's the Master Tales. Given that you participated in an internship here at the center, where do you see yourself in the future?
Well, as I was discussing, I hear back in like a week from my top university, so near future, I hope to see myself there. Also, I just love to work in Washington. I feel like being geographically is really important to know where you're supposed to be, and I feel like, once again, because I took part of this internship, because I've been really active in the center, my political activism, I knew that my heart was leading me to Washington. So that's just really where I want to be. I talked about the importance of networking. People who I met on the campaign trail are like, oh, just give me a ring, I'll get you in touch with my cousins, brothers, or Orthodontists who worked on the Hill once, so it's all about who you know. So hopefully if I'm in Washington, those connections will definitely be able to help me out. Yeah.
What advice would you give a young person that's trying to get something that lives in their mind to come to fruition?
That's a great question. I'd say it's not an easy thing to do. Definitely if you first have a vision and you don't really know how to handle it, you don't really know if it's feasible, it's kind of a scary thing. I just say, get support from wherever you can get it. When I was working here at the center, I found support from my mentors and I found support from my fellow interns, just where I didn't necessarily know that I would get it. So just keep your eyes open for inspiration wherever it is, and just, the worst that can happen if you're trying to make something happen or if you need to ask for permission, the worst that they could say is no. So if I would have gone up to the school and I would have been like, hey, I want to start this refugee group, they could have said, no, it's not going to happen. That's really the worst they can say. So just keep that in mind. The worst that can happen is they say no, and everything happens for a reason. So So if you're trying to get something out, try and see something happen, something feasible happen. If it doesn't happen, that means that it happened for a reason. There's something better. Yes.
I will say this, if they tell you no, the next question should be why. And then if they can answer why, then come back again with the answer to that why. If they still say no, and they can't give you a why, do it anyway. Don't listen to me. Right. Well, thank you. Everyone, let's thank you.
Yeah.